I thought I really knew what I was doing when I boarded my first ship 5 years ago, but it turns out I was wrong about almost everything. 4 years, 8 contracts and 3 different cruise lines and lots of direct conversations with agents. I'm a piano bar entertainer and I now coach musicians who are interested in starting a cruise ship career as a musician. I'm here to share the real lessons, being as honest as I can, and also the things I only understood after years of working on cruise ships, after multiple contracts, and that I didn't know when I first started. By the end of the video, you'll know what I actually think of cruise ships, if it was actually worth it or not, and if you're interested in this path, you'll also know what it takes to thrive on ships and not just to survive a contract. And the funny thing is that the biggest lesson from all this had nothing to do with music, and it really changed how I performed and how I was as a human being entirely. So let's first start with how hard this job actually is. Like, is it really hard? You know, on cruise ships, all the crew is like, hey, you have the best job on board, you work just a couple of hours a day, you have great privileges, and you're paid more than everyone else. And I've always been annoyed at all the crew thinking this, because yes, fair enough, they don't have a lot of time off, they don't have days off like we do, and they work so many hours for a salary that's a lot of the time maybe like half of what we're getting. So I get it. However, the job is difficult. Like, performing a couple of hours a day is hard. You perform when you want to perform, you perform when you don't want to perform, you perform when you feel down, when you feel sad, when you don't want to be seen, and there's no way to go around it. And that can be really exhausting, not only physically because your voice can get really tired from performing hours a day, but also emotionally when you just don't want to be there, you just don't want to be seen. And I have 2 little stories for you. The first one is that it happened a couple of times in my 4 years on cruise ships that I actually cried when I was at the piano because I was going through something personally and the music was just bringing up the emotions, and I was just literally crying right in the middle of the ship, you know, with an audience right in front of me. And I think this really shows that, you know, we are musicians, and so a lot of the time we're emotional as well. And I think it takes some vulnerability to be able to show up even on the days where you're not feeling the best. And the second thing is that I lost my voice a couple of times, especially as a solo performer. You know, it can get really hard because you're entertaining, you're interacting, and so you can lose your voice very easily. And if you don't have proper technique, or if you don't just save your voice, then it can be really difficult. And I think what's really hard is that as musicians, we want to show how good we play. We want to always be at our best, right? We want the people who watch us, who listen to us, who get to experience the music with us to feel like we're doing our best and that we're really good. And it's impossible to be good on every single night. There are nights where you don't have as much energy because you gave everything yesterday, or just you're not feeling like it. And so what I found hard is also the relationship with music side of things, like being able to accept that I'm not always at my best and that I will mess up, I will make mistakes, I will sing out of tune, I will not show up like my best days all the time. And you might be wondering if the job actually lives up to the fantasy. Like, is it actually as good as what it looks like on paper? Like, you're traveling, you're eating in passengers' restaurants every day, you're making friends from all around the world. And the truth is that yes, it's an incredible experience, and I would never be the person I am today if I had not worked on cruise ships. But there's also a part where if you are in a dream all the time, all year round, you are going to feel like this is not a dream anymore. And maybe sometimes it can even turn into a nightmare. And so this is why I think it's such an amazing experience to have, but it's really important to have something on land, even if you keep your flat, or if you really keep friendships, or if you keep being in touch with your family, because it's a dream to be on these cruise ships and to work as a musician until it's not anymore, and it's a dream until the moment you don't have anything else. If I was to give you an image, it's like if you were on holidays all the time. You would enjoy the first week, the second week, but after 2 months, maybe at some point you feel like, hey, I actually miss, you know, having one place and having a routine. And not that you can't have a routine on ships, but it's just that this lifestyle is very different. I would say that it's like being on another planet. And I would say that the best part really is like the identity shift that there can be when you work on cruise ships. Like, you're the musician on cruise ships. People know you as the piano bar entertainer or the guitar vocalist, and they recognize you, and there's this little thing of like, hey, I'm making music full time. I don't have to worry about like when I'm gonna get my next gig, where it's going to be, if I have to bring up any equipment. And this simplicity is really nice. And the venues we tend to perform in on cruise ships are really nice as well. And there are sound technicians to take care of us. And so this is a comfort that is really hard to replicate anywhere else on land. Hey, if right now you're thinking, I would love to get to know more about this path, maybe I could be a cruise ship musician, maybe I could travel the world and save money and get so much experience as a musician on cruise ships, I built something for you specifically for that. It's a course called How to Become a Cruise Ship Musician, and it teaches you everything you need to know from being a musician on land to actually getting your first contract on board. I've put everything I know from my 4 years of experience on cruise ships, as well as the direct conversations I've had with agencies. And so this course is primarily for solo performers like piano vocalists or guitar vocalists, and partially for duos, trios, or bands who are also interested to get on cruise ships. The link is in the description if you want to go and have a look. Now let me tell you about what performing on cruise ships taught me about music, because my relationship to music completely changed in a good way and in a bad way. Before cruise ships, I would say that I was completely addicted to music. Like, music was the way I would resource, I would go to every time I feel something. That was like my biggest hobby. I was able to do music all the time, every day, etc. I was also writing songs about what I was going through personally. And because cruise ships gave me such a rhythm with performing, which is exactly what I wanted, by the way. I wanted to become that performer that is able to adapt to any environments, that has this experience. I wanted this, and I'm so grateful I had it. But my relationship to music completely changed because it became my job and because it became something that I had to do instead of something I was going to. And I think it's really important to face this truth before thinking of doing cruise ships, because if music is your biggest love in your life and that you want to keep it this way, working on cruise ships can hurt this, in the sense that you have to perform, you have to go there. And just like anything, if you love pizza or if you love fries and you have to eat pizza and fries every single day for a year, maybe you're not gonna love them so much at the end. So you get the point. I think it's just like a destiny thing as well. Like, do you feel like you're meant to do music on the side, you know, as something that's just a passion, a hobby, something that you go to? Or do you feel like you're meant to be a professional musician to make your whole life and income and identity around it? If that's the latter, I would definitely recommend doing ships. And what did it teach me about music? The good side of things is that it taught me so much in terms of like accompanying myself, singing. I was not the same performer. I got so good compared to the level I had before. I'm able to do so many things on the piano. I feel confident with my voice. I feel like I have a really strong voice because I've performed so much. And also in terms of the audience interaction, I feel like I can handle a room, I can host a party, I can get people to really have fun, and I can also get people to feel different things, you know, with different songs, etc. And I feel so much more confident when before cruise ships I was really scared, always feeling nervous before playing with people. Like, I really feel like I unlocked this thing that I was looking for before my first contract. And this is experience that can never get taken away from you. And I think this is such a gift. And the truth is that this experience is absolutely gold, because what you can do after this is insane. Just getting on land now, it's very easy for me to find gigs. I know that I stand out compared to most musicians who want to work in beautiful venues, like in 5-star hotels and these kind of things. Like, the international experience it gets you as well. Like, you're really comfortable with English speaking, which is, in any countries in the world, this is a huge benefit that you have, and something that will make you stand out if you're able to host a crowd, but also a crowd in English. And what it also brought me musically is really good footage. You know, like performing 4 hours a day, if you are filming even like 10% of your performances, you finish your contract with so much footage that literally becomes promo material. So whether you want to work on cruise ships or anywhere else, if you just want to get back to doing gigs on land, then you have really good footage that you might not have had. And the other opportunity you can unlock is the headliner. If you want to create your own show and perform in the theaters on the cruise ship, is actually probably the easiest way to transition from being a musician to a theater headliner on the cruise ship, because it's all in one place. And so you can negotiate with the cruise director to go to the theater, do your show, get it filmed, and then start applying and doing this. Not saying that it's easy, it's competitive, and I haven't even done it myself, but this is one of the opportunities you can do from just working on cruise ships as a musician. So if this sounds like this is what you want to do and that you're really inspired, maybe you want to do this for yourself, I created a course about how to become a cruise ship musician. And I really wish I had this course when I started, because this is not a world where you know these things. You can't Google like how to put a reel together for cruise ships. And there's so much about this world, about how it works, about how it is to live on board, about whether it's actually for you or not, and about how to apply the best way, whether to go directly with cruise lines or with agencies, so that you can get the best contract. I've put all my knowledge and a step-by-step process in this course, and if you are interested, the link is down below. There is a launch price for the first 20 people who enroll, so go and have a look, and do not hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Now let's get back to the video. I think one of the biggest things that I learned from working on cruise ships though is how to be a successful musician for this specific environment. I'm not talking about like recording your own songs, building a fan base. This is a different world. I'm talking about performing covers and playing in international places, in places where they have money. So how can you be successful as putting yourself out there and standing out among lots of musicians so that you can be picked by the places like resorts or 5-star hotels or cruise ships, wherever it is, that have a lot of money that will pay you to perform music. I have really understood how to be successful at this, and this is why I'm doing this, by the way, like now helping other musicians. It's because I've understood this, and it's so valuable because music has always been my passion. I've always wanted to make money from music, and now I'm able to have gigs that pay, you know, up to like 1,000 euros, when before cruise ships I would never have been able to get this. And so understanding this side of the industry and understanding what will make these venues, these agents, these cruise lines think, hey, I want this musician, that's really valuable. And the biggest takeaway I can tell you from what I've learned about what they expect is that what they care about, of course, it depends the environment. Like a luxury cruise line or a luxury hotel might expect different things from a big American cruise ship, but what they expect is connection with the audience before anything else. What I also realized is that the technique, the level that you have as a musician does not matter as much, because the people who have the money, the people who will hire you, a lot of the time they don't know so much about technique. So if you can fake it, then great. I played so many times on land in venues where it's like a jazz venue or something, and I don't play jazz at all, but just because I'm able to fake it, it works. So if you understand that the interaction with the audience and like the entertainment value, like how much you're able to entertain, matters way more than the rest, then you can put your focus on this and start creating environments that can show off that part of you. And specifically for cruise ships, the truth is that a lot of musicians are sending their applications, and very few of them are hearing back because they just don't know about this world. They don't know about what to send, and they just assume that they know, and this is why they never hear back. And this is why it is so important to spend some time and actually learn about this world, learn about how it works, and how to come across as the most professional and the kind of musician who actually matches the cruise audiences and who matches the expectations from the cruise lines. And this, you can't just learn it just like this if you don't know about it. And so the biggest thing that I've learned from these 4 years of working on cruise ships is that working on cruise ships really teaches you about how to connect with an audience through music in a human way as well, how to host a room, how to be the creator of a crazy environment, and not just to perform for an audience, not just to get them to applaud just right after your performance. And I think this is the biggest gift I could ever get musically, because now I know how to connect with an audience. So if you want to get there too, feel free to check out the course down below. Even just the first part of this course could save you months, maybe even years. And so if after watching this video you're thinking that you also want to get there, I might be the best person to guide you through this, as I have experience on the musician side of things and also with the agencies. The course will not guarantee that you get a contract, but it will guarantee that you will maximize your chances of getting there. So if you're interested, the link is below. And other than that, thank you so much for watching the video. I'd be curious to hear about what is one thing that you are curious about cruise ship life. Just let me know in the comments, I'll definitely reply to you. And do not hesitate to subscribe if you like this kind of content, as I post weekly. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.